Happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I wanted to talk to you guys about a weird symptom I'm having this week since my injection on Tuesday. Now, I've made a whole symptoms video in the past. I'll try to link it somewhere if you want to check out my full experience on Mounjaro. I am on so next Tuesday will be my last 5 milligram dose of my second box. I do plan on continuing on the 5 milligram for another box because I'm finding that I'm still having success with it. I'm not sick from it, and I just don't want to up my doses too early. So, with all of that being said, food aversions. I've had them in the past. I used to get them a lot in the beginning stages of my gastric sleeve surgery that I had in 2017. And I remember getting them with Trulicity a lot because I've been on Victoza, Trulicity, Ozempic, and now Mounjaro. The two longest that I was ever on was the Trulicity and now Mounjaro. Hands down, I think Mounjaro works the best for me personally. But anyway, I did have a lot of morning nausea and food aversions with Trulicity. And so it's not anything I, am not used to. And usually, oddly enough, my food aversions happen midway through a meal. And so it's not that I can't see something and then it makes me feel sick. It's usually when I'm already, like I said, halfway through something, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I don't want this anymore. So ever since Tuesday, and normally, I should say this, normally the day right after my injection, so normally Wednesdays for me are the days where I don't really have any appetite at all, which is normal. Like I said, that's kind of been my trend this whole time, is that I take my shot Tuesday nights. Wednesday I really have no appetite at all, but I'll still eat everything that I've brought or everything that I've bought for the week. For some reason this week, every single day I have had a food aversion to the point where, let me just explain this. I had chicken buffalo dip, and even the thought of it right now puts a lump in my throat. It was so delicious until it wasn't, until the food aversion hit. And that's what I was planning on having this entire week for lunch. And I just could not stomach the thought of it after I almost got the ick from it, earlier this week. So I was like, all right, well, I have other things in the house I can whip together and bring. So I brought an apple, like I always do, to go with my peanut butter. I brought a pepper to go with a Laughing Cow cheese and some turkey. Great, I'll make a pepper sandwich. And then that day I bit into my apple and it tasted horrible. And it tasted almost like chemicals. And I spit it out, and I, again, got a food aversion from it. I don't think the apple actually tasted bad. I think that I'm just having such an ick towards food this week. I didn't do my injection in anywhere different than I normally do in this. I bounce around different spots of my stomach, but it's not like it was, a new injection saying my body's responding differently. I'm not sure why this week specifically I'm having this problem. So that was my apple. Then the thought of the Laughing Cow cheese just sent me over the edge. I don't know why. I love cheese. I love Laughing Cow cheese. I don't know. And then what else was it? Oh, and then I brought cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese. I brought cottage cheese and pineapple. Again, I took a bite of the pineapple and it tasted rotten. Now, I have to say, that might have actually been rotten because that pineapple was in my fridge for, a little while. It was pre-cut pineapple, so I don't think it lasts as long as maybe like fresh cut pineapple does. So that one 100% could have actually been the fact that it was going bad. But needless to say, I took one bite and I spit it out. So basically, my diet this week has consisted of nothing. Has consisted of like a handful of animal crackers. Let's see, what else? So yesterday, I'll give you an idea of what I had. I had a handful of animal crackers in the morning. I brought myself protein pasta to work. So the protein pasta that had a little bit of sauce and some cheese, like mozzarella pearls, and then a little bit of sprinkle of cheese. I was able to finish about half of that. That's also what we had for dinner the night before. And again, I got through half of it, like half of my dinner and half of my lunch. And then I couldn't stomach the thought of the rest of it. So I had that. And then for dinner last night, I had 2 pickles. I wanted to have a tuna melt sandwich. And I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And like I said, I've had food aversions before, but it's never been like this, and it's never been consistent. And I found myself, one of the days that I could not eat my lunch, which was going to be the pepper sandwich. I wasn't even hungry, but I knew I had to eat, and I was, I felt hungry, but my brain, or I don't know, I can't explain it. I felt hungry, but I didn't want to eat. But I wasn't starving. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, I should eat. But it wasn't I need to eat. But anyway, I hopped on Uber Eats, and me and Uber Eats have a very toxic relationship. I should say me, Uber Eats, and PayPal have a very toxic relationship. And I actually closed down my PayPal account because of, one of the reasons was because of this. So for some reason with PayPal, if you have it linked to your bank card, even if you don't have money in your bank at the time of a purchase with Uber Eats, obviously it's not with everything, but with Uber Eats, it'll still go through because it takes 24 hours for it to pull out. And what I used to do when I was in the midst of my food addiction was, even though I was bringing food to work, I was bringing, I set myself up for success, spent all this money at the grocery store, blah, blah, blah. I would do damage on Uber Eats. I'm talking every day eating out, even if I didn't have the money in my account. And I would get breakfast, I would get lunch. If I didn't feel like cooking dinner, me and my husband would get dinner. So I'm talking eating out 3 times a day for at least more than half of the week. And so because I was able to spend money that I didn't have, which always would come back to bite me in the ass, and it put us in a lot of debt. I shouldn't say debt, but it's one of the reasons I feel like we are still struggling, is because I would spend money that we didn't have and then have to obviously make up for that negative balance in my account. Again, it's a fucking addiction. It was a straight up addiction. Anyway, I'm derailing myself now. Uber Eats. It is triggering now for me to open that app. And so one of the days that I did not have, or I had lunch but I couldn't stomach the thought of it, I went on Uber Eats almost as like autopilot. I'm like, okay, well, if I don't want what I want, then if I don't want what I brought, then I'll just find something else. And this kind of happened, if you guys remember, when I was back home at my parents' house, where I said I opened Uber Eats and I was just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and like was being mindful of the calories, being mindful of how much everything would cost, and like I didn't do it. And the same thing happened again this time. I opened it up and I was like, okay, well, my go-to normally is Chick-fil-A because I know it's safe for me. It's not gonna make me binge, it's not gonna derail me. I get a salad with grilled chicken, it's satisfying, it's a way healthier option if I'm in a pinch. Like, that's my go-to. Problem is that specific day they're remodeling the Chick-fil-A that's closest to my job, and I was not gonna go drive 30 minutes out of the way to go get a salad. And so that's why I was gonna go on Uber Eats, because I was like, well, maybe I'll get Panera. That's another thing I used to get all the time. And again, Panera is still, you know, not the best, even if you get like, you know, a sandwich with avocado or whatever. Like, there's just, anything made at home is always better. And so I was gonna get myself, because it was cold that day, a tomato soup, like a half tomato soup, I don't know, a cup of tomato soup at Panera, and then half of a grilled cheese, because that's what I used to get. And I just, even though it sounded like good to me, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't bring myself to spend the money. I couldn't bring myself to use the app. And I think that's really interesting, because I feel like that was the more psychological, in the sense of like, I almost have PTSD from that app, and now I consider that app like almost like an enemy to me, because it's a trigger for me, which sounds so weird to say. Actually, I should say, it does not sound weird to say. Me and my therapist are working on that. That's what she told me yesterday, is I notice you say things are silly or or, you know, this is weird. And she was like, it's not. Like, don't downplay your feelings. So it does not sound weird. It triggers me. And that's what it does. Anyway, moving on. So that day, I don't think I had lunch, and I did not have a proper breakfast. And don't get me wrong, there's things at my job, I am welcome to absolutely anything I want in that house. And my bosses are very into fitness, and so it's not like they have a bunch of junk food laying around. Like, they have healthy options. I just, like I said, I could not, and for some reason still cannot, stomach the idea of like, nothing right now sounds good. Like, not even things that I normally would binge on, like the Panera, like McDonald's, like whatever. Like, nothing sounds good right now. But like, no real food sounds good to me right now. I mean, the animal crackers didn't even sound good to me, and I know that that has no nutrition, no value or anything, but I was at least able to stomach the thought of them, whereas a lot of other things right now, for some reason, I am completely unable to even, like, the thought of them makes my stomach turn. So it's a weird symptom, and I've been so lucky this entire time. I think I'm on my, 11th shot? Let's see. I'm on 4, 8. Yeah, that was my 11th shot on, because it was my 3rd box, right? I think so, yeah. So my 11th shot was on Tuesday. And this is the first time I'm having like real symptoms. And I mean, I have a lot of people asking me, you know, do you have any symptoms? My answer has always been no, not really. Yes, I've noticed a slowdown in my bowel movement schedule. I'm not going every day. It's not you know, really diarrhea like it used to be, because I don't have a gallbladder. So I always struggled with, you know, bathroom issues. I used to literally eat and then it would go right through me, like immediately right through me. That also was because I was obviously eating very shitty food, but that doesn't happen to me much anymore. I mean, a handful of times since I've started the medicine. In the beginning of when I started the medicine, I definitely had a little bit of tummy troubles as far as like the runs, which again I mentioned in that video, but nothing severe. But I definitely have noticed that it has slowed down my bowels. I would not say I'm constipated in the slightest bit, but I notice a difference. I don't go as frequently. So really, I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't have symptoms. I don't have reactions or side effects. But this is definitely one that I noticed this week, is the food aversions. So I'm curious to know if anybody else has had something similar. I don't want this video to scare anybody, because again, 1 week out of my 11 weeks is not that bad in my opinion. And I doubt it will last. I mean, I don't see why it all of a sudden would last. I also could just be being extra picky. Like, I don't know what it's from. But I just thought it was, you know, worth noting because it's new. It's different. And I am a little concerned that whatever weight I lose from this week is not going to be sustainable weight, because I really hardly am eating this week, and it's not for lack of trying. Like, I really am trying. I just couldn't stomach it. So I mean, I guess we'll see. Today I brought a cheese stick. I'm gonna have an apple from, you know, the kids' house. And I love apples and cheese. Love apples and cheese. So that's gonna be like my breakfast. And hopefully I can stomach that. Hopefully the apple doesn't taste weird to me. Because then I was thinking too, like, could my taste buds be weird this week from the shot? Like, is that a side effect? And that's why things tasted chemically to me. And that's kind of what, like, then my brain was like, oh, like everything's gonna taste chemically. So it kind of like did something to me mentally where I just wasn't gonna enjoy food this week. I don't know. I truly do not know. But I am, you know, I am looking forward to hopefully being able to have my cheese stick and my apple, like I said. So we shall see. So yeah, we will see. And then I have to figure out lunch because I didn't bring anything today. Again, because I didn't have anything in the house that sounded good. But maybe I'll make myself a turkey sandwich or a turkey wrap at the kids' house. We'll see how I'm feeling. But yeah, let me know if you've had this weird side effect, because I'm very curious, or if you've had any side effects like late into your Mounjaro journey, because I'm super curious about that too. And I know it's possible. Like, I know that people can develop symptoms and side effects at any point. It's just, you know, like I said, I've had this a little bit, but never consistently. And it feels weird to be grossed out at the thought of food, especially when that is never a big issue that I've had, obviously. So happy Friday. I hope everybody has a great Friday and a great weekend, and I will see you in my next video.